Hello everyone, my name is Elizabeth. I'm from Kenya. I currently work as a workforce analyst and I'll be taking us through Lucas Studio training. I've been working with Lucas Studio for over a year now, which has been our primary business intelligence tool. And I'm really excited to share some of the concepts that I've learned along the way. This training will be divided into 3 sections. And today's session will serve as our introduction to Lucas Studio, where we will cover what Lucas Studio is, how to log in and access the platform, how to create your first report, how to connect data sources, and finally, we will review the Lucas Studio interface. And I believe that by the end of this session, you should feel confident navigating through Lucas Studio and setting up a basic report. Okay, let's get to it. So, what is Lucas Studio? Lucas Studio was formerly known as Google Data Studio, and it's a free web-based tool that helps you transform your raw data into easy and understandable reports and dashboards. What do we mean by a free web-based tool? It means that you don't need to download any software, you don't need to download any application. You just need your Google account, just log in and that's it. So I want you to think of Lucas Studio as a powerful storytelling tool, just like Power BI or Tableau. And the main purpose of Lucas Studio is to help you visualize, analyze, and share data insights effectively. So for you to access Lucas Studio, you need to either just search Lucas Studio on your browser and sign in with your Google account. So let me go ahead and search for it. So as you can see, this is the Lucas Studio overview. Let's just click on it. Let me close this tab. So as a first-time user, you would be asked to sign in. So for me, I'm not a first-time user. As you can see, I already have some of the reports in my dashboard. So it means that once I sign in, anytime I open Lucas Studio, it will directly sign me in because I've already logged into Lucas Studio. But for a new user, you will have to sign up so that you'll be able to log in and start creating reports on Lucas Studio. So once you log into Lucas Studio, this is the interface that you will notice. Over here, we have reports, which means that the blank report means if you want to start creating a report, you just click over there, or you can choose to start with a template. So these templates are already in Lucas Studio. So you can just select any of the templates that you want and start playing around with it. And also over here, you can see shared with me. Shared with me, means that these are some of the reports that I don't own them, but they have been shared with me. And then owned by me, it means that these are the reports that I've created and they are now owned by me. For trash, this is whereby you'll find anything that you deleted. Maybe you deleted one of the dashboards that you no longer require. You'll find it in the trash. And so for us to create our first report, we have 2 ways to do that. You can click on the create button or you can click on the blank report. So let me just use the create button and select report. So every time you create a new report, it always directs you to add data to reports. And you have various sources whereby you can add your data. You can use Google Sheets, Microsoft Excel, BigQuery. They are a variety. So depending on where your data is stored, you can just select and add it to your data. So right now, let me just close this button because we want to review the Looker Studio interface. So once you log into Looker Studio, if for instance, right now I've not added any report, so that's why we see everything is blank, and that's why you can see some of the functions are not visible because we don't have any data on our report, and so we cannot do anything. But we can add data to our report. We can add a page, and we can choose to blend data. Blending means we want to merge our data, so you can use that option as well. So first of all, this is untitled report at the moment. For us to adjust or to update the name of the report, you just need to click on the untitled report, and then you add your name. So in this case, it will be customer churn analysis. So once you add the name of your report, just click anywhere so that it gets saved. As you can see, it has been saved. And then when you move here on the file option, you can see we have various options that I'll give you that as an assignment for you to go and review what these buttons are. Like you learn it on your own, play with it on your own, get to understand what they mean. So as you can see right now, we don't have much of visibility. We only have these very basic things because we have not yet add data to our report. So for us to add data to our report, in this case, we need to click add data here. So let me select add data. And then you can see it returned us to the previous page that we had. So I'm gonna choose Google Sheets because I'm more concerned with Google Sheets. And once you select Google Sheet, for instance, in this case, it takes all the Google Sheets data that has been saved in your drive. So for instance, right now you can see we have some data saved in my drive that are owned by me, and we have some that have been shared by me. So, and we have also the all items whereby you can be able to view all the items that you have in your Google Drive. So in this case, I'm gonna select the bank churn analysis because that is the data that we're going to use. You can see the spreadsheet name is bank churn analysis. And the worksheet, we have two worksheets in our data. We have the customer churn records and we have the sheet. So you see when I hover over here, we have a link that pops up down there to the Google Sheet that we are selecting. So you can click on that link and it will take you directly to the data. So for now, you can see we have the data over here. So this is our data set. As I mentioned earlier, we have two worksheets. We have the customer churn and we have the sheet one. But now our main focus is on customer churn because this is what has our data. So I'm gonna select that. And then options, you can choose whether you want to use the first rows as header, if you want to include hidden and filtered cells. So you can make those specific changes the way you want your report to appear. And then now I'm gonna click add. Well, so you can see we received a pop-up notification. It's telling us that we are about to add data to our report. And you can see here the name of the data. So I love leaving the pop-up notification on because I just love double checking to ensure that I'm adding the correct data and worksheet to my report. So if you don't want this pop-up to appear, you can always select don't show me this again. But for me, I love it appearing just for the purpose of double checking the data that I'm adding to my report. So I'm just gonna select add to report. So now you can see something has changed. You can see now we have a lot of active bars or active interfaces on our active buttons on our reports. You can see previously we were only seeing the file, edit and view, but now we have insert, page, arrange, resource, a lot of options. We also have something going on this other side, but we are getting to that, don't worry. So as you can see right now, once we added our report, we have two buttons that appear on our main Canva. So you can see we have a freeform layout. So we need to select the layout that we want our report to have. Do we want a freeform layout or do we want a responsive layout? A freeform layout means it's a fixed size. So whether I'm using a tablet, whether I'm using a phone, the size of the screen of the dashboard will remain the same. But our responsive layout will always change, or it will respond depending on the size of the screen that I have. You can see if the screen is smaller, the the dashboard is also minimized for better visibility. So right now I just want us to use our freeform layout. We can always change this later. And you see, if I select the freeform layout, it immediately creates me a chart, which is a table. So I'm just gonna scroll it down. And if you notice, you'll have seen that this property table appeared, which we were not having previously. But if I move from selecting the table, you can see it disappeared. But if I click on it again, it appears. So the table properties just allows you to adjust the table according to what you want to visualize. You can also style it based on how you want it presented on your report. So first of all, let's review the Looker Studio interface to understand what it entails. As I mentioned earlier, for the file edit view, I want you to review it on your own to see what they entail. That's your homework. And then we can go to the insert. So insert, it means that here we want to insert chart to our report. So we have a variety of charts. And so for you to insert, you just need to select, for instance, let's say a pie chart. And once you select, you can see it's giving you a drag feature. So this means it helps you to align the chart where you want it to be. So it's your responsibility to ensure that it's correctly aligned. And as you've noticed, once I added the chart, it automatically populates some data. So you just need to ensure that you adjust it correctly according to how you want it to visualize, because for now you can see it's not even visible. It's so inaccurate, but we don't need this right now. Let's just delete it. So the insert button, you've already known, we have a variety of charts. On the page, if you want to add a new page on your report, you can just click new page. If you want to duplicate the current page, you can also duplicate. And then on the arrange button, this is if you have multiple charts on your report and you want to order them, to arrange them or distribute them evenly, you can use these options. As you can see right now, it's currently not active because we don't have some charts or multiple charts, but let me click on this to see whether it will be active. You see, we only have the bring to front, or only those two that are active. But if we had a lot of charts and we select them, it will have given us the option to align horizontally, distribute them, make page level. Like, we would have a variety of options. And then on the resource, you can as well add data source through the resource button. So as you can see here, we have the manage added data sources. If I click on that, you can see we have our data here already. And if you want to edit or make any changes to your data, you can always click on the edit button. If you want to duplicate it or if you want to remove it, you can always click on that. And if you want to add a new data source, you can click on that as well. and then it will get you to the previous tab that we had. You can see this. We are now, by now I know we are now familiar with this particular view, especially when you want to add data to your report. So let me close that. We don't need that now. And then we were on the resource. Okay. Manage blends. This is when you want to merge your data. Filters. This is when you want to filter your data according based on something. And then manage dimension, value, colors, manage variables, and manage community visualization. So this I'm going to give you homework. You do it on your own. Review and understand what these three buttons are. Why are they important in Lucas Studio? So go do your homework on that. So now the help button, I'm sure you're familiar with that. You can as well review that. You can see it's maybe if you want to join a community forum, if you want to request a feature, if you want to learn Lucas Studio, you can click on that and then you'll get the Google resources on how to on where you can learn Lucas Studio. So that's it based on those buttons up there. These are mostly a replica of what we have on the previous buttons. As you can see, add page, we've already reviewed that. Add data, you can as well add data from there. Blend, this is where you can merge your data through the blend option. Add chat, you can see still the same options that we had. Community visualizations, I gave you these as a homework. Review and understand what they mean. And then add control. Control means slices. You can add slices to your report as well. You can also add links. You can add a picture. You can either import it or upload it from your computer or upload it by a URL link. This refers to a text box, so you can always add it. So if you see I've already selected it, so it's dragging me. So if I want to place it anywhere, I can just click on it and then it will be added. And then these are just shapes, line, and then the shape. And then if you want to adjust anything on the theme and the layout, you can always click on that. So that's it about the upper interface. However, we have not reviewed on this other side. So if you want to review your profile, you can always click on that profile icon and then you'll be able to see details for your account. And then if you want to, maybe for instance, you made an update on your main data source, you can always refresh this. By clicking on that, you will notice that this data gets refreshed. So it means that all the updates that you've made on your data source will now be visible on your dashboard. And then if you want to make a copy of that report, you can always make a copy. If you want to get the report details, you can see right now, this report is owned by me and when it was created and when it was modified. So on the view button, if I click on that, you can see now this is the view that the users get to see when you share a Lucas Studio dashboard with them. So as you can see right now, we only have the title and the table that we currently have on our data. So as you can see, this is the view that they are able to view. And from this view, they cannot edit or do anything. They are basically viewers of this report. So for you, you have the option to edit. That's why it's more like you are the back-end developer of this report. So that's why you need the edit access. Also, whenever you are an owner of a report, you will always have that edit access because you're trying to create or build that particular report. And now for the share button. You might be wondering, how will people be able to view my report when I finish working on it? So you have the share button. So if you can choose to, if you want to share the report with specific people, you can just add their Google accounts over there. And then if you want them as viewers, you can just select them as viewers. If you want to add someone who is another editor on your report, you can always select that option. And if you want to notify them as well, you can always notify them. So this means that once you add their email account over there and you click send, they will get notified that they have been added to this particular report. Another way you can do, if you want this report to be public, you can see at the moment it's restricted. So only people added can open this link. Only people added means that those that have added their Gmail accounts on this particular report. However, if I want it publicly listed, so if I make it public, it means that anyone with this link, you can see anyone on the internet with the link can find and view. So they can view this particular report. But if I want to choose editor, it means that they can find and edit this particular report. So right now, I just want it to be a viewer. I will just save. And so that's how you share the access to your reports. So we're done with that part. Let me close the report details. So now we have these particular three icons over here. So you can see we have data, we have properties, and we have the filter bar. If I click on data, let me reopen it. So you can see this clearly gives us an overview of our data, the data that we added to our report. You can see that the name of the worksheet is bank churn analysis. And then we have our columns down there. It's important to also double check that the data type is correct. Like you can see, age is a number, balance is a number, card type is a text. So you can always double check that. And if you notice that, if you feel that it's not correct, you can always edit that as well. And how do you edit that? You see, if I click on that, close to the title of the worksheet, you can see it's giving me an option to edit the data source. So if I click on edit, you can see now I have the field and the type and the default aggregation. So the type is the data type. So you can see age is a number. If I wanted to change it, I can just click on there, and then you can see we have the options numeric, number, percent, duration, text, date and time. So based on your data source, you can always just have them ensure that they are correctly tagged as they have the correct data type, sorry. And then default aggregation, like you can see, any number by default is usually a sum. So you can always change that as well if you want that whenever you want to add a report and you don't want to, maybe you want your sum to always appear, your age to always appear as an average. So you can always change that. So it means that any report that you will add on your dashboard and it has an age, by default, the aggregation will be always average. So unless you change that maybe to sum or something else, then it will always appear depending on the default aggregation setting. So let me just click done. And then for the properties, if I click on that, you see nothing is happening right now because of the properties is specifically tied to the chart that you have. So you see, if I click on the chart that we currently have, which is the table, and I click on the properties, now we have something. So you can see it's the table properties. So over here we have the chart types. If I want to change the chart that they have, maybe I want it a table that appears like that, I can just select that. You can see it's loading, and then I can close that. And then now over here, you can see we also have the data source, and you can as well edit over there. You can as well choose to blend the data. So the dimension here is where you'll be able to ensure that you have the correct dimension, you have the correct metric. For instance, right now we see we have record count, which is not accurate. So let me just say maybe something like customer ID. And by default, customer ID actually needs to be a count. So count distinct. So right now you can see this visualization kind of makes sense. So as you can see now, we've added the metric, we have the dimension, And you can choose to add the filter, you can choose to add the date range. For instance, our data right now does not have any date, so it's not important in this particular report. But you can be able to see all the options that you have over here. And also, if you want to style your table, maybe you want these bars to appear orange or the color that you want, you can always use the style option to make those changes. So that's it about the properties. And then for the filter bar, I think you noticed something. So let me click on it. You can see the filter appears over here. So this quick filter means that it will be applied to the whole report. What do I mean by that? It means that if I add a quick filter, for instance, let me say geography is for Spain only. So it means that any report that I will add in this particular dashboard will specifically be based on, it didn't save. Okay, let's apply actually. You can see now our data is loading, and we had Smith topping there as number one, and he's no longer there because the data now has been limited to Spain. So that means that if you want your whole dashboard to be filtered to a specific thing, you can always use the filter bar. But now we don't want our dashboard to be filtered to a specific thing, so we are just gonna close that, and then we are just gonna return it back. So that is it based on our first introduction video today. I don't know if you have any question. Feel free to comment down there. Feel free to reach out to me as well, since I know all of us will be in the WhatsApp group for the internship. I guess that's it for today. So see you on the next one. Bye bye.